Will you answer this question? Yes, because no would be a paradox.
Hey guys, this is what I sound like right when I wake up. I just checked the subscriber count and we're over 30,000 now, which is so great. But unfortunately, I couldn't catch the exact moment it happened because I was sleeping. Yeah, so thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed. Also, anyone who just watches my videos who's not subscribed, thank you guys all so much. And I still remember like a year ago when I would get 20 views on a video because 10 of them were from me coming back to see how many views I got. And I can't believe how far we've come since then. And I just want to say I'm so grateful for all of you. And thank you guys so much once again.
So I didn't catch the moment it hit 30,000, but I did catch the moment it hit 30,090, which I guess is better if you really think about it. What motivates you in cubing and maybe being a YouTuber? Okay, so I usually don't say YouTuber, I say YouTube Cuber or cubing YouTuber because I feel like they don't sound as weird. But anyway, what motivates me in cubing is I like the way the cubes feel. I just like the colors. I've been doing it for a long time, and I just like beating records and racing against other people. So what made me want to be a YouTuber? Like number 2 reason was because being a YouTuber would be cool, but the reason number 1 was because 11 finger tricks every cuber should know. I wanted to make that video because I thought that a lot of people didn't have very good finger tricks. At least some of the cubers that I saw who were even like at a pretty good level, like the sub 15 range, I feel like some people could still have better finger tricks. So my whole idea was to make some videos that I thought would be beneficial to the greatest number of people. So that was actually the first video I released, and I filmed that video before signing up for YouTube, like making my Perm account. So I filmed the video, edited it, and then signed up for YouTube and uploaded it. I feel like some people ask me like what videos should I make or what should I do to make my channel better, and honestly I feel like that's the wrong approach. The approach that worked for me is I want to be on YouTube because here are the videos that I want to make, and like I won't run out of ideas and my channel will have a definite purpose. What do you do to practice and improve your times? Normally I don't do anything super specific for practice. I just like do a bunch of solves and then maybe I'll focus on certain things. So really lately I've been focusing a lot on look ahead, and I used to like focus on finger tricks. For example, like for the A Perm, the D2 was really hard. U2 flicks were also really hard to learn in general, and also other finger tricks like this one, and I can't really think of any other ones. But like whenever I'm learning certain finger tricks, which was a while ago, then I would kind of focus on making sure I use those consistently and not kind of like go back to the ways I used to be. And then now I'm focusing most on look ahead because I already have established like how I'm going to solve all the F12 pairs, and I don't really have a lot of troubles with that. What are your plans for future videos? So I'm of course going to be making the sub 10 video, which I've been talking about for a while, but then I didn't make it because I didn't feel like I was truly sub 10 because I never gotten a sub 10 official average, and I still only have one. I totally failed the next average after that, but I feel like I'm improving now again, and I feel like I can say that there's pretty much no day that I'm not sub 10 anymore, at least at home. And then also I still have like a list of video ideas. There's actually way too many for me to get done in any reasonable amount of time. A lot of them take a lot of work, but I also have some new ideas that are different from anything that I've already done. So stay tuned for that. What is your favorite cubing moment? So in recent memory, there are 3 that come to mind. The first one is when Felix beat Matt's Volk's world record single of 4.74. He beat it with 4.73 while Matt's was sitting right next to him. And I just thought that was like one of the funniest moments. We pretty much don't see moments like that when one world record is set with a world record holder right next to them. The only other one I can think of is Lucas Etter beating Keaton Ellis's world record. So then the next one was when Felix got the first sub 6 average of 5, and that was really cool because he already got the world record average back pretty much right after Max beat his world record average. And then on the 5th solve, he managed to turn that into a sub 6 average, which I just thought was crazy. That was so exciting. So then the last one was when Patrick Pons got his world record single. And what was interesting about that for me personally was because when I started making my channel and I made this F2L video about look ahead, and then Patrick shared that video into a group, which like made my channel a little bit more popular, and I really thanked him for that. I thought that was really great of him to do. And then the day I hit 20,000 subscribers, I was thinking, wow, that was really nice. He did that for me. And then I think it was either 1 or 2 days later, or maybe on the same day, I can't remember, then he got that world record single. And then I just thought, yeah, he totally deserved that. He's a really nice guy. Which is better, magnetic cubes or non-magnetic cubes? I think magnetic cubes are better because, so with some cubes you have weaker magnets, which makes the cube be like more stable. It stays more of a cube shape all the time. And then for cubes with stronger magnets, it'll stop you from overshooting and undershooting. However, I do like the Volk, like the regular Volk. I like that just as much as pretty much all the magnetic cubes. Why J-Perm and not T-Perm? Well, that's because I like J-Perm more. I can do it faster. And then, so T-Perm is like 1 extra move, and I can't do it as fast. Why do you like Speedcubeshop more than Cubicle? So I normally don't really like talk about the whole Speedcubeshop cubicle thing. I think it's really unnecessary. It's just a store, like just shop wherever you want. You're just getting cubes. But Speedcubeshop has 10% off. Cubicle has 5% off. If you have any reasons other than those, of course, just shop at whichever store you want. But I like Speedcubeshop. What is your goal in 5x5? My goal is to beat David Armstrong. What do you think about Red Bull Championship 2017? So I didn't really follow the whole thing that was going on with that. Like I saw the initial post about like Red Bull making this thing, announcing it, and not like notifying the WCA about this at all. It makes sense on their part because they're trying to make it very different from how the WCA does things, because some of the WCA things are more about the competitors and less about the spectators. For example, like we have FMC, we have like big blind events, and all those are completely not spectator friendly. So I think it kind of makes sense the way they did things. I can't say I like it, but I don't really have like I didn't really think about my opinion on this, so I'm not really going to say anything about that. How do you keep cubing without getting bored? Is it mostly for fun or the community or something else? So at first, of course, when I was a kid and started cubing, it was really just about the fun and the fact that I can beat my PBs all the time. And since I pretty much just did 3x3, then at some point the PB started to slow down. And then that's when it really becomes a question of like, do I want to keep going? And there were times where I would quit for like months at a time. So I was still kind of on and off until summer of 2016 when I decided I'm going to start practicing again. And I really want to be sub 10. I think I was averaging about 12 then. So I think one of the big reasons why it's still been fun and I never had to question like whether or not I still want to keep going is just because of my YouTube channel and then therefore the involvement in the community. And I'm cubing far more now than I was before because of the channel, and I think that's made me a lot happier as well. What is your opinion on dual color neutrality? So that means solving with 2 cross colors instead of 1, so like white and yellow, because a lot of the color patterns are similar that way. So I think it's a good thing. It's easy to transition to. Obviously, it's not as good as color neutrality because you don't get as many options for your cross. But like, I think my general opinion on anything color neutrality related right now is like, can you realistically see yourself put in the work to become color neutral or any sort of color neutral? And if you can, then just do it. Like, it's not really a matter about how much it's worth because it's honestly not worth that much. Obviously, being color neutral is better than not being color neutral, but the time spent, maybe it could be better spent on something else. I don't know. It's up to you. What 3x3 cube is your main? Gan Air SM. Why do you prefer to use your left hand? So that's because I was doing both hands at first. Like I would be able to do, for example, Perm's left-handed and right-handed. And then I decided at some point that I'm just going to switch to whichever hand is faster because I thought that choosing one hand might be better. And then my left hand, for some reason, was just way faster, even though I did both hands equally. So I just picked left hand. And when did you start cubing? I think I first learned to solve a cube in 2008. And I didn't learn F2L until 2012. And that's when I started to actually improve. What was your first speed cube? I don't know if like a modded Rubik's brand with silicone lube is like good enough, but my first actual speed cube other than that was a Diane Guhong. Will you ever go to competitions outside of Canada? Yes, and most likely just like the ones nearby in the US. And I've actually went to the Puget Sound winter. That was like in the beginning of December. Who is your inspiration when you started cubing? So I didn't actually like follow any particular people and I didn't really know any names, but one name that I did remember was Yu Nakajima. I don't know if he was like the world record holder at the time when I started cubing, but I just remember seeing him. He got like the top color to all be the same during last layer, and I was like, whoa, what's that? The method I use is different from that. So that's kind of like where I learned about the existence of OLL and more advanced methods, because I was still using the beginner method. And then after I actually started getting good at cubing, then pretty much the number one for a while was Felix, and he was number one by like a margin. So yeah, Yu Nakajima and Felix. What is your favorite lube at Speedcubeshop? Martian because it's the fastest, but some cubes are a little bit too fast, so I'll use the other ones as well. What new puzzle would you put in the WCA? So I don't do that many different puzzles. I guess I would just say mirror blocks because that's the only one I do other than like the ones I already do. So here it is. And so if you don't know what mirror blocks is, it's just this thing that kind of shape shifts. It behaves exactly like a 3x3 except for the fact that it changes shape. So instead of looking at different colors, you would look at different like depths of the pieces. And I think it's a pretty fun puzzle, and you can also do it blindfolded without inspection, but that takes a while. Now for adding new events to the WCA, I also really like Team Blind. I haven't ever gotten good at Team Blind, but basically what you do is you have 2 people, and then one person inspects the cube and tells the other person a few moves before you start. Like for example, the cross solution, and then during the solve, one person would like say things to the other person to tell them what to do while this person is blindfolded. So like for example, you would have different commands for how to insert certain F12 pairs, how to do certain OLLs, and also for like cube rotations and stuff like that. So there's 2 general ways to do Team Blind. Either both people are allowed to have the cube with the scramble, and then one person can just solve it however they like and tell the other person as they go how they solved it. And that way is like really, really fast. And the other way is to just have one cube in the solver's hands, and then the other person just says things and then this person does it. But I think what's interesting about if you were to have this in a competition is it's hard to regulate scrambles, because if everyone got the same scrambles, then you can just listen to another team's commands and you'll know what happened during that scramble. Have you thought of doing a cube of yours or working together with any company to do a 3x3 Gan J Perm? It sounds cool. I guess that sounds interesting. I never thought about that, and I think it was like Cubix who did his own cube at one point, and then we also, of course, have Matt's Valk, and I don't know if there's anyone else. Like, it would be kind of cool, but I'm not that into hardware. Like, I barely lube things or change springs or do any of these sort of things, and I've never magnetized a cube. I really just don't care that much about the hardware. I'm mostly concerned about like my ability to perform on the cube, not really about the cube itself. That's also why when I make reviews, it's pretty much always just like the most hyped cube at the time, or it's like a cube that I really like. Yeah, so whenever I make reviews, they're usually like pretty important. It's not just like on the randomest cube out there, because I feel like the hardware is not that important unless you're talking about the very best ones. Why can't I improve my look ahead even after so much slow solving? So what I normally tell people is not to do slow solves, but to do untimed solves, where there's a difference between those two. So an untimed solve means you still try to go at a regular speed, just a speed fast enough, or I mean slow enough where you still don't have to pause. Tips for sub 10, video coming soon about that, I guess. Aside from cubing, what is your other talent? So other things I do besides cubing, I also play tennis. Like, I've done a bunch of things in the past, including like competitive Pokemon battling, which is like not the game Pokemon, where you walk through the world of Pokemon, but just like the battling mechanics and designing a team however you like, playing against other people who have also perfectly designed teams. So it's pretty interesting because it opens up like a whole different side of Pokemon that people don't usually know about. It's not just about like choosing super effective moves, that's just what you do against the CPUs in the game. And it's not about using rare candy so your Pokemon get to level 100, because that's not good enough. Everyone has level 100s. And another thing that I used to do a lot is play Tetris. So I'm just going to show a quick clip here. This is how fast I used to be. I'm now slightly slower, but I'm still pretty good at it. So this is a video of me doing my best run in clearing 40 lines, which is called Sprint. And this was done like many, many years ago. I'm not as good now, but I can still consistently get it done in under a minute. So it's kind of like cubing. You kind of reach like unbelievable levels of skill for the regular person to look at. But if you really think about it, any skill like this, just like cubing, is just practice. And it's not actually that hard if you put in that much time. What are your top 5 favorite Pokemon? So I think my ideas are a little bit different from most people's because I play competitive Pokemon. So Pokemon that are bad competitively just wouldn't necessarily be my favorites because I just see them in a bad light. So Pokemon like Charizard, I think Charizard is just completely stupid because he's completely unviable in every single way competitively. So I'm sorry to any of you guys who like Charizard, but that's just the truth. If you look up why he's bad competitively, then you'll see right away. Like, there's just one move that is on every single team and completely invalidates Charizard. So anyway, I like Flygon, Dragonite, and Scizor. What was the hardest thing about getting sub 10, and how do you manage school and cubing? So how I manage school and cubing is just do my work as soon as possible, like do it in class or whatever. Like, I can listen to one class while doing a different class's work. And then for the hardest thing about sub 10, I think it was look ahead, because look ahead is more of an intangible aspect than it is like work on number 1, number 2, number 3. It's not like algorithms where you know if you know it or not. Like, look ahead is so many different aspects, and it's just like it's just complicated. Getting down to like averaging 11 or 12 seconds, I didn't really bother with look ahead that much. Like, I didn't know it was really important, but I would just mostly just try to turn fast every single solve. And I just tried an average the other day where I would turn as fast as I can every single solve. I think I got 8, 11, 11, 11, 8. It's really inconsistent, and I just felt like the pieces were invisible because I was moving so fast. What helped you the most on 3x3 when you were going from averaging 15 to where you are now? So one thing is I made a lot fewer mistakes in my solves when I found like better OLL and PLL algorithms. I understand that like everyone has different ones. So there's like my OLL videos, my PLL videos. We also have Felix, his OLL PLL from Cube Skills. And then UberCuber also has his OLLs uploaded. And I don't know if anyone else has their PLLs uploaded. Oh yeah, JRCuber has his PLLs uploaded. So I'm not really sure about any other videos out there, but it's good to check out those, and also check out algdb.net so you can find out new ones. Do you think the current 3x3s in the market are perfect? No. If not, do you think the 3x3 hardware can get a lot better? So yes, I think it can get a lot better. Right now, the fact that I still lock up at all, maybe it's just my fault, but people still lock up in general, so our cubes could still get better, like even people with decently accurate turning. So magnets were like something a lot of people didn't see coming, and it ended up being really good. And I'm sure there are a lot of other things. And also there's no such thing as perfect. As you can see from the very last cube that was released, I reviewed the Volk Power and I really didn't like it. I looked through a few reviews and I don't think I found any that said that they don't like the Volk Power, and also a lot of people were recommending it to each other. So whenever people ask about the Volk Power, I usually just like keep my mouth shut, because it's not like the general consensus that people don't like that cube, and I don't want to be like the one person to persuade someone out of buying the Volk Power, because for a lot of people they really like it. I'm just like the guy who doesn't like it. So anyway, that's just to say that like the feel really matters. It's not just about the performance of the cube. So whether or not cubes can get perfect is like a different question about like each person's individual feel. So this was a long question about the Red Bull thing again, but do you think cubing will ever be recognized as a sport? So I used to have a different definition of sports in my head, because I thought about like chess and cubing as sports. I don't know if chess is like officially considered a sport, but then I heard a parent ask someone, does your kid play any sports? So then I thought to myself, if I was the parent and my kid was a cuber, would I say, oh yeah, he solves Rubik's cubes? So of course, I think it's like all up to your definition of a sport. So some people will define sports differently from each other, but I think in the general sense, if you're just having a conversation and sports comes up, there's no way you're going to mention like Rubik's cubes. And I think you also wouldn't mention video games. You also wouldn't mention chess, because those, you can kind of classify them as sports, but they're a very different sort of sport, because the general notion of the word sport means it's like highly physical in some way. So if you really want to define sport in a way that cubing fits into a sport, that's totally fine. I don't feel like it's really important whether or not it's a sport. And like, I don't really have an answer here. I'm just going to go with like a really small leaning toward no. At what stage of cubing should I focus on look ahead and one look OLL and one look PLL? So I think one look PLL should be basically after you learn F2L, you should just start with one look PLL. And then for one look OLL and look ahead, that's mostly like a sub 20 or sub 15 sort of thing. What other events might you pursue in the future? So the reason I started 5x5 and Pyraminx, well, 5x5 I thought would be interesting, but Pyraminx is mostly just because all the competitions I go to have Pyraminx, so there's no reason not to. Now for events like Feet, which I don't particularly like anyway, but like that and Big Blind, Multi-Blind, Scube, Clock, I normally don't see those in the competitions that I go to, and also FMC. I think FMC is okay, I could do it, but it doesn't show up at the competitions I go to, so I'm like highly prioritizing the ones that are at the competitions I go to. What is your favorite song? So the genre that I like is electronic, and I generally like really energetic music. I can even fall asleep to energetic music, it's just my thing. So two of my favorite songs, I'll put the link to both of them in the description, are Raise Your Weapon, Madeon remix, originally by Deadmau5, and then Heaven by KSHMR. Is it worth it to learn ZZ? I think if you're considering that question, you should just learn it and see if you like it. Just give it like a few days of your time to see if you think it has any potential for you. How long should it take for me to perfectly do look ahead? Well, there isn't anyone in the world who can turn as fast as they want every single solve and never pause, so no one's done it yet. Maybe you can be the first one. What is life? Deep question. So life has no meaning besides the meaning that you give to it, and so if you enjoy things, then you should do those things and try to surround yourself with people that you enjoy being with. What ALGs do you need to know to get sub 10 to 12 averages? OLL, PLL, and the basic F2L algorithms. Do you watch anime? No, I don't actually watch shows usually. I watch movies and shows sometimes, but like I feel like for the things that I do, I wouldn't have time if I watch any shows. So the only shows that I actively watch are Rick and Morty and Westworld. And they're both in between seasons right now, which means I don't watch anything right now. And some of my favorite movies are Avatar, the one with the blue people, the first Hunger Games, and I also like Looper, which is like about time travel. Gan, SM, Volk, or GTS2. Those three in that order. Do you think listening to music will give you better times? I think it can help you stay focused, and it can be like a constant factor, because if I have music on and then I turn it off and just keep cubing, then I tend to get bored faster. Is it good to learn many ALGs and practice less, or practice more and learn less ALGs? I think practice more if you're talking about look ahead and efficiency and F2L stuff, and then learn ALGs less. Like if you learn even just like one a day, you can get a lot done and you will have a better memory of those ALGs. Because if you learn a lot at once, it's easier to forget them. What is your favorite fast food? Which meal? So I don't eat fast food that much, but my favorite meal in general is just butter chicken. I like Indian food a lot.